Alright, so I'm here with Maximilian Cole from Manly Career Academy. So we're doing a SWOT analysis of his teaching. So my first question is, what are your unique skills and qualifications for teaching?
One of my unique skills are going to be communication, and I think that's going to always be key in the classroom, because you got to be able to convey a message to the students, but not just in a whole group aspect, but also on a one-on-one basis as well. So I'm able to communicate with students also outside the classroom, one-on-one, to try to build relationships. And the qualifications that I have is the fact that not only do I care, but I also want to make the content that I'm teaching relevant for them and something that they can use on their daily in their daily lives. So the content, basically the lessons that I utilize in my classroom, are always going to be a big go factor for the students, because they can take that exact same lesson that we learned and apply it to their daily lives. And with strong communication coupled with that, it'll be definitely a good class for the students to engage in.
Alright, so what do you do better than anyone else?
What I do better than anybody else is I hold students accountable. And that's what I think is the most important thing, is I hold students accountable. I make sure to let them know that not only am I here for you, but if I don't hold you accountable, then somebody else will. And if somebody else holds you accountable outside this classroom, I cannot say what the consequences will be, but I can tell you what the consequences will be in my classroom. And hopefully just to get them kind of to understand how they need to be responsible with everything that they do, and if they're not responsible, it always have something, always causes something in their lives to kind of shatter. It doesn't allow them to actually be the student that I know that they can be. That's why I hold them accountable.
Alright, so what unique resources can you assess?
The unique resources I can utilize in my classroom, or just
in the classroom.
Oh, in the classroom. So I can utilize my tests that I use. And so the tests just kind of go over what are tools for problem solvers. Right now I'm working on problem solving and what they can use as far as the qualities of what a problem solver has, and kind of what a problem solver does in order to better enrich their lives. So that's one of the resources I can utilize and show people in order for them to see that students are learning and taking away something very essential from this class.
Alright, what achievements are you proud of?
The achievements so far, man, they know the 3 R's at Manly. And that's one of the biggest things to me, because I'm teaching a freshman seminar class, which is kind of like advisory. And the biggest thing when you teach any seminar class or any, I guess, mandatory class that allows students to get that introductory into a high school setting, is for them to know kind of the values of that school. And the 3 R's for Manly are respect, responsibility, and reflect. And students every day come in and they know exactly what the 3 R's are. And you could ask any of the freshmen, because we say it on a day-to-day basis. And you can just kind of see that they're starting to become more enthusiastic and trying to hold themselves accountable to the 3 R's as well.
Alright, what values do you believe in?
Values, man.
This is the main one. Just one, because it's a lot of them.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. Integrity and just responsibility are going to be the 2 main values. Again, I don't mind if a student messes up. I don't mind if a student doesn't get the correct answer, and I don't mind if a student is going to be overly emotional in the classroom. That's absolutely fine. My biggest thing is for you to be responsible for your actions. No, you know what, Mr. Cole, I messed up. What are the consequences? And that shows me that you are growing up and becoming a young adult. And also just to be, honest. That integrity portion is very key to me, because if you're going to throw a paper ball in the classroom and say, I didn't do it, now why did you do it? That, to me, that shows you don't have integrity, and that's something that needs to be built. That's a fundamental value that I want to instill not just in my students, but also demonstrate in the classroom as well.
Alright, so let's get down to the weaknesses. What skills or knowledge do you lack?
I think the skills and knowledge that I lack is probably the proper planning components that can be utilized in the classroom. I'm not saying that I'm super weak at planning, but I think my planning and instruction is something that I know I can definitely use some extra assistance with, because there's so many different strategies you can use in the classroom to keep students engaged. And that's one of the biggest things that I want to be able to do, is allow students to always be engaged, to kind of shake it up a little bit, not have it be always routine, but to allow them to be engaged in the content work, and then to also take away those strategies and not even realize they're doing that.
Alright, let's get to the next one. Let's segue into the next question. What do others see as your weakness?
I think others see my weakness as I would also agree with instruction. I think that my other professionals and colleagues who I've been working with in my support system, they think that there's always an opportunity to boost rigor. And in my classroom, because it's a freshman seminar class, but we kind of focus on reading for Common Core standards and CRS skills, I think that they're always pushing me to try to boost rigor in the classroom. And whether it's for finding the main idea, finding supporting details, and so on and so forth, I think everybody's always pushing me to always look for other ways of planning and instruction.
All right. Do you have any negative work habits?
Negative work habits. I think for me, at this time, it might just be complacent with, I guess we can say, a subpar behavior possibly.
Okay.
Because as of recently, after the first semester, you're like, okay, this is that class, this is what they do, don't leave it alone. But that's something that I think I've inherited only because sometimes you get tired as a teacher, but it's another thing that I do believe is a common characteristic, not just in myself but other teachers, but it's something that I think is also negative because you should always be a go-getter, always willing to always push the students to the next level and always have a strong expectation so the students can come into the classroom and know exactly what's expected of them and also know that this is going to help better their lives.
All right, so let's get down to the opportunities. So what opportunities are available for you to learn as a new teacher?
Opportunities that are available, just kind of taking away bits and pieces from professional development days, taking bits and pieces away currently for me for National Louis, because National Louis is the university that I'm doing my alternative certification through, and also trying to get my master's degree from National Louis. So just kind of viewing the webinars, kind of looking at the resources they have, those are all opportunities for me to kind of use what I've learned from my classes and apply it to my classroom setting.
So do you have people to help or advise you?
Yes, I have several people. I'm a Teach for America Corps member, so I have my MTLD, which is kind of like a mentor teacher. I have a culture and climate coach who's also helped me, and in addition to that, I have an NLU advisor who kind of comes into my classroom periodically to check and see if I'm, utilizing everything I'm learning from the classroom at NLU to my classroom. So I have tons of support. My colleagues and staff at Manly Career Academy High School are always willing to help, so tons of support.
All right, so that's good. Let's get down to the threats.
Okay.
What obstacles do you currently face in regards to teaching?
Obstacles I currently face. I have a 7th period class who, I guess the climate and culture has been built upon where it is okay for guys and girls to fight, like physically. And I think that is a significant problem because, again, men, and especially young men, from the early ages, you don't hit women. That's just, plain and simple. But it has seemed to become a constant bickering, which has led to physical altercations in the 7th period because they just don't know how to get along. And I think for me, that threat is going to be reset because we need to reset the classroom culture. And in addition to that, since I went to all-boy high school and my sister went to all-girl high school, so what I'm going to do for that particular class is kind of like separate them. And again, it's going to be one of those resetting of the culture. If you guys can't learn to work together, then you guys will have to be isolated in the classroom. And if you choose not to work together or stay in the classroom because of your seating arrangement, then you're going to have to take it to the principal or bring your parent in for a parent conference.
All right, so what are your competitors, meaning other teachers in teachers programs, benefiting from their teacher preparation programs?
You mean like from...
So what sets your teacher preparation program apart from other teacher programs?
Teach for America, man, again, tons of support that they offer. They allow teachers like myself the opportunity to get their master's degree from different satellite universities, whether it's National Louis, University of Michigan, or even Harvard for some people, or University of Penn. But they allow us to get our degrees in education, kind of help us to get in the classroom, to focus on that problem, but also to be an advocate for, educational enrichment in different at-risk areas. In addition to that, Teach for America also allows for us to kind of to find out more about the city and the community in which we're going to be working in. And I think that's one of the best parts about it, because we're not just going in just to teach students, just looking at education as the forefront, but we're going to try to rebuild a community. And that's what I think Teach for America is all about. It's not just the education aspect of it, but rebuilding an actual community. Because the places they send us are not going to be the communities where they have $1 million to give out for the particular system for education, but instead they allow us to go to these at-risk areas where the students can benefit from our leadership, and definitely we can benefit from being in that community and kind of learning how to help and learning what drives the people there. So I think that's what's important about Teach for America and alternative certification program.
All right, so good. So this is my last question. Like, if you can change 2 things in your classroom today, what would those 2 things be?
2 things in my classroom. I would, one thing would be technology. I think the students can definitely benefit from more technology in the classroom. And again, there's always that threat of students walking away with an iPad or some sort. But if there's a possibility where we can just kind of enrich their minds using technology in the classroom and allow for them to be held accountable for what they do have, I think that'd be a perfect way for them to advance their education. But in addition to that, also just allowing for more community partners to come in and kind of help the students see that their world is much bigger than the community in which they live in now.
Okay.
Because a lot of students are always talking about just their community, but you never get them talking about current events outside the community, things that are happening in the state of Illinois, things that are happening outside of Illinois, things that are happening outside of the United States of America. And I think that community partners can definitely help us in that aspect, and with that assistance, students will be able to see, oh man, I had this parochial view of life, now boom, this is the world around me. So
all right. So I just interviewed Maximilian Cole from Manly Career Academy, first-year teacher. And that's a wrap.